but this happened. Can you see that? Yeah, it was really sad, but I'll talk about it in the video. Okay, it is week 10 of my 12-week design challenge, and I'm super excited to be moving through this. This week, I made this 2-piece bikini set with an underwire bikini top and this side tie bottom that has low rise, and it ties up in the back like that. So I think it came out super cute. So for the design, I started out in Clo as usual with my avatar that matches my body measurements. And then for the pattern, I used the pattern that I drafted in another video. That's my basic bra block underwire pattern that I have modified to fit my body. And so I just had to apply a few different materials and think through a few different construction techniques for this. So for the swimsuit top, I still wanted to have stable cups and frame because I like the support that I get from that, but I wanted the swimwear fabric as the outer part of it. So you can see here, I've drafted in the cups and frame with a lining, and I was thinking about using sheer cup lining, but then I didn't have enough of that for it, so I ended up using duoplex for that, which works out because the duoplex has a little more give than sheer cup lining, which I find that I kind of need to work with the stretchy swimwear fabric. And then for the swimwear fabric outer, I used a Carvico swim, and then the bottoms are just a basic. Again, it was my basic pantsy, which I've also shown how to make in another video. And I just added a few details like the side ties here. And then for the back, I just modified it so that the ties crossed in the back and then crossed over again and then went through these little loops down here. And again, I haven't perfected my Clo file because I just didn't have time to do that this week. In the future, I might go back and refine some of these to make them look a little bit nicer. But for now, this was enough to get the idea of how I wanted this garment to look. So then first, as I've done in the past, I exported my pattern in print layout mode and then out to the projector and over to my cutting mat. Okay, so when I got to this point, I was cutting out the stable duoplex for the lining of the swimsuit, and I decided I was going to show you something cool because you can see how the layout that I exported from Clo doesn't work with my width of fabric here. So I checked the width of my fabric and then I go back over to Clo and I create a new layout. So then I open the new layout and I'm like, what the hell? I was trying to make the layout be slightly smaller than the width of my fabric, and you can see my fabric isn't quite fitting onto the new layout. So then I had to go and do some troubleshooting, and I thought through all the variables. So I made sure I had my fabric width right in Clo, and that was correct. And then I went into Illustrator and made sure that the PDF that I was exporting out of Clo was the correct scale, which it was. And then eventually I check my projector again, and I realized what had happened was while I was trying to set up this fancy new camera angle, I had knocked the projector, which meant that the calibration of my projector was off, which also meant that all of the previous fabric that I had cut out prior to this point was also incorrect. So I was actually super lucky that I caught this, because otherwise I would have sewn up the whole garment and not realized that my pattern was actually the wrong side. So I'm glad I checked this before moving on. So then I had to go back and recalibrate my projector. Once that was done, I cut out my duoplex fabric at the correct scale now. And lesson learned for next time, I'm always going to make sure that I have a scale box on the pattern that I'm projecting, and always check that scale before I cut out my fabric, because it doesn't take that long to do. It's super simple, and that's going to be part of my regular procedure from now on. And so luckily the way that the calibration was off on my projector actually made the pattern pieces slightly bigger, so I didn't have to waste any fabric. I just took the pieces that I cut out and recut them at the correct dimensions, and then I was good to go to start sewing. So if you're interested in learning how to use Clo 3D specifically for the development of intimate apparel, you should definitely check out my courses at Wayfinder Intimate Apparel Academy. I teach you the basics of using Clo for the development of intimate apparel, and then in the advanced class, I teach you how to draft an underwire bra from measurements. So you'll learn how to draft a underwire bra pattern in Clo, but you'll also learn how to use Clo to apply any method of pattern making that you want to try out. I also hold a monthly online call for my students to come and ask questions or show their work or get feedback. And if you're unable to make the call, the lessons are also recorded and uploaded to the community so you can view them on your own time. So if this is the kind of thing you're interested in, go check out my course, wayfinder3d.com, and I'll be happy to see you over there. And so this is when this very sad thing happened. I had the iron on too hot and I forgot to use my pressing cloth and it burned the fabric. I'm just gonna have to live with that forever. Here is how it turned out. I absolutely love the fit and I'm super excited to get to the beach this summer. I think I would sew this again with opposite the coral on top and black bottoms, and then I can do a mix match type of thing. But this is another great pattern that I think I'll riff on again more in the future.
Goodbye. Make sure to like and subscribe, please.